Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love, here with your AEW Double or Nothing 2022 review from last night. Was a long but fun and enjoyable pay-per-view as I restructure my notes. Here, one sec. But a lot interesting regarding the pay-per-view and bunch of noteworthy and newsworthy stuff coming out. Now, first, before I get into the MJF situation, so on Rampage, my Rampage review that I posted on Saturday, I said that Double or Nothing was looking a bit bloated when it came to the card. Around 13, 14 matches lined up for the show, including the buy-in. Now, last night was also the Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals for the NBA playoffs between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. And that game went pretty long as well. It ended like around 9, well, including the trophy presentation, probably around like 9:10, 9:15. But I mean, when you put that into account with the long card, I can understand why AEW made its card so big in that perspective, because by 9 o'clock, Double or Nothing was still going on, and, you know, there can be a conflict of interest between fans. You know, you want to see Game 7, you may want to see Double or Nothing, but in a way, Double or Nothing will still be on when Game 7 is finished, so that was something to take into account. But now the way they flowed their card was pretty unique. I mean, the opening match was MJF vs Wardlow, and then, you know, it took the first few matches to kind of get off the ground for the pay-per-view, which I can understand when you have a bloated card and what happened with MJF early in the week, which I'll get into. So, MJF of AEW. So, AEW had their Fan Fest along with all their activities on throughout the early part of the weekend. And apparently MJF was slated to be there, but he wasn't. And then there was, all of a sudden you saw rumors and reports boiling on Twitter saying that reportedly MJF has a flight booked for out of Las Vegas. So all of a sudden this dark cloud of what was going to happen at Double or Nothing, because MJF is arguably the best heel right now in pro wrestling. The way he is with his promos and the way he carries himself, he is definitely one of, if not the best heels in pro wrestling. And still very young. I think he's only 25, 26. The AEW World title, we know, is obviously looming amongst this feud with Wardlow to build Wardlow over. And now, we know over the last number of weeks and last couple months rather, MJF has brought to light that his contract expires, his current one with AEW, in 2024. And he's been teasing about going to WWE. He's made that clear, that he is teased unless he gets the offer he wants from Tony Khan. And we know Tony Khan would be quick to give MJF the offer he wants to stay in AEW for the time being. And we also know that WWE, I mean, they outbid AEW for Kevin Owens, in which people thought he was going to jump ship. But WWE outbid them, and, you know, MJF, like we said, we know how good he is, so it was confusing and a bit worrisome that AEW, that the card, that Double or Nothing, rather, felt in a bit of jeopardy and had this dark cloud about it up until literally right before the main show started. That was in a bit of jeopardy, because last night was supposed to be Wardlow's moment to finally be all elite, and MJF was kind of making the headlines about himself. So that kind of put one of the marquee matches in question. But as of last night, we saw MJF. He was there. He did show up, although he looked not too pleased to be there. He was there, and he took a beating from Wardlow. Took a beating. It was short, and he got stretchered out after the match. So there was that. Couple of things to talk about before the review. After the Jade Cargill versus NJ TBS title match, Chris Statlander ran down for the save on NJ, but with some feisty backup. The former Ember Moon of WWE and NXT, aka Athena, she has made her AEW arrival. She is officially all elite. And I'd not get into it, but you know, Jade Cargill's got some interesting tests coming for her and the TBS title. The other thing, and Stokely Hathaway, aka Malcolm Bivens of NXT, one of the best mouthpieces we have seen in recent memory. He was out there with Jade Cargill for her match with Anna Jay, and you know, with him calling the shots over Mark Sterling, that would be something. That would be something because clearly Mark Sterling was in good shape after the buy-in against Hookhausen. And then CM Punk. You know, 7 months ago, he made his return to pro wrestling after 7 years off. He had that stint in the UFC, did not pan out. But now, he's the AEW World Champion after a conflict or crisis, rather, for Hangman Page. And, you know, CM Punk, 7 months after his return, is now the AEW World Champion. Now, you can already see people complaining online. I mean, look, CM Punk and Tony Khan talked about at the post-media scrum. Talked about how CM Punk is becoming the biggest draw for AEW, and he's becoming their top babyface. It's only right that, and I don't want to take anything away from Hangman because Hangman had a very good run as AEW World Champion. He beat Kennedy to reach the mountaintop. He beat Bryan. He had a 1-hour stint with Bryan. He had a grueling Texas death match with Archer. 2 very good matches with Adam Cole. And, he got knocked off the mountaintop by CM Punk. So, there's that. Now, there were some decisions, and there were a couple matches I did not agree with. And, a lot of people can pretty much associate which matches I'm going to speak about. But it's been quite the open, so let's get to it. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast and you want to see more videos, click that subscription in the corner. Take you to my pro wrestling reviews on the channel. Of course, I'll post my AEW Dynamite review on Thursday, along with my AEW Rampage review on Saturday, so you can find those uploaded. But thank you, and let's get started. The pre-show started with the Acclaimed and the Gun Club. They were out there as Max Caster was cutting a rap, and the Acclaimed and the Gun Club are becoming a bit both. They're both cringe and cheesy, but also kind of entertaining. So, the Acclaimed, Max Kessler said in one line, if Bones didn't get hurt, they'd be winning the titles tonight. I don't think that's true, but they're obviously one of the best tag teams currently in AEW. Gun Club are obviously still very young and have room to grow. But, it's okay, this pairing. Hey, Kingston, there was a promo posted about Kingston from Saturday on the buy-in. He was sitting down backstage with a bottle of Jack Daniels. He took a shot, and he noted that about his past demons, that they tend to swim, although he tries to drown them, and that Chris Jericho has brought back him to a dark place, and that Kingston is terrified of what he's going to do to Jericho, and that this on him and this on Tony Khan, and he smashed the bottle of Jack Daniels. Nice little prelude to what would be a chaotic scene later in the show. Hookhausen. Danhausen and Hook. They made their debut match together versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. This was pretty as one-sided as you can expect. Danhausen looked good. He had a good showing in this match. He looked nimble versus Tony Nese. And, obviously we've only seen one match of Danhausen in AEW, and that was like less than 2 minutes. But Danhausen shows in this match, he can work. And he actually had a big throw on Tony Nese, then hot tag to Hook as Hook cleaned house. Land throws on everyone, on Sterling Nese. So it looked like Hook was gonna start the crossfaces and lock in the Red Room onto Sterling. But Danhausen was pleading for the tag, and so Danhausen got the tag, did his curse thing, and pinned Sterling 1, 2, 3. Hookhausen does well in their debut match. Good for both. Then we get to the main show. MJF. Now, obviously, with the situation, they dragged on his entrance a bit much. And then, boy, was he. He obviously got the booing of a lifetime. So, obviously, he didn't look too pleased, but he was there. You know, he got there and he actually played around like an airplane, mocking the fans. Got a lot of a-hole chants after him. So Wardlow, he was in a holding cell, it looked like, backstage. Obviously escorted to the ring by security guards. And he looked none too pleased. I mean, not sure if that was by design or also he was pissed about the MJF situation in the news going into. I mean, it was kind of supposed to be MJF's, or Wardlow rather's, big moment. And MJF is kind of stealing the thunder for the weekend. So Wardlow got into the ring, and this match, I feel like with the news and the happenings that I'm not sure this was the original planned match, but surely after the news, I'm not surprised that Tony Khan tweaked plans. So MJF, he had her on a roll for a near fall. He faked the knee injury and then went for the dynamite down the ring, while it was caught by both Rensburg and Wardlow. And Rensburg, like a teacher in middle school, or like an angry teacher in middle school taking away your phone or something. He took away the dynamite diamond ring. from MJF. MJF was trying to plead with Wardlow, talk sense into Wardlow. Wardlow was not having any of it, and it was a long powerbomb symphony by Wardlow. 10 powerbombs. By Wardlow for the win. And they announced afterwards. So MJF was being stretched out on a stretcher after the match. Wardlow was on the stage with Tony Schiavone, and it was announced that he is officially all elite. He is no longer working for MJF. He is working for Tony Khan. So, go for Wardlow despite the noise of the MJF situation. Although MJF's status is very unclear. But we'll have to see in the coming days what's next. The Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks. Talk about a clash of almost generations. You know, we've seen this match quite a few times in Ring of Honor, but here in AEW, it had an interesting feel to it being the first time in AEW. And, you know, this match felt a bit off. It felt a bit off. Although, it was still a good match, but something about it still felt strange. So the Hardys originally mocked the pose of the Young Bucks. Jeff went for a tag to Matt, but Matt was knocked off the apron. Jeff then hit the Whisper in the Wind. Finally got the hot tag to Matt Hardy, and Matt started cleaning house from there. So Nick Jackson and Jeff was on the apron, and both Matts were on the outside. A super kick by Nick knocked Jeff on both Matts on the outside, and then Nick hit a senton from the top rope to the outside on all members of the match. Back in the ring, the Bucks hit a frog splash, standing moonsault combination for a near fall. Matt hit Matt Hardy, and a side effect on the apron had to have sucked. And the Hardys tried it early in the match, but were thwarted. They hit the poetry in motion. The Bucks, like they did, try to do on like they did on Rampage, or try to do it again. They hit the Twist of Fate and the Swanton for a near fall. The Bucks hit a super kick party, not once but twice, on the Hardys for a good near fall. Finally, so there was a pair of steps set up on the outside, and Matt Jackson was set up on the steps by Jeff Hardy, who hit a swanton bomb onto Matt on these steps, which had to have sucked. Then back in the ring, Hardy's hit a twist of fate swanton combination for the win. The Hardy Boys, or the Hardys, get the victory in this clash of generations, or clash of eras, against the Bucks. You know, okay, you know, like the Bucks said, they're still in their prime. You know, they're still in their 30s. Hardys are on their last run, so I can understand them getting this win here, and could have been better, but it's still a good match. Oh yeah, Jade Cargill for Santa J. One of the matches I think we can all say did not need to be on the show. We can all confidently say that. But, wanted to get Jade on the show. Obviously, if she wasn't, people would complain. And luckily, it wasn't long. But not much to it. I mean, Anna Jay, she has really been seen in weeks. So, I mean, this on TV, so this was just being thrown together. And then there was Jade won with a Jaded off the middle rope for the win. So Stokely Hathaway, aka Malcolm Bivens, came out to support Jade Cargill because, of course, Sterling was hurt from the match earlier with Hookhausen. So Stokely Hathaway was up there with Jade, and Jade obviously gets a win. She was out there with her baddies, and Chris Statlander came out for the save, and she had some backup in the form of Athena, aka Ember Moon. So that was a very good face-off between all 6 women. You know, Chris Statlander, we can tell, deserves more, and we know Athena is a great pickup for the AEW Women's Division, and have no problem with it. I'm sure we thought she was going to be the Joker against Britt Baker in the Owen Hart tournament. That was not the case, but good move here. What was my initial pick to be match of the night, along with the other 3-way tag team match for tag team titles. This match was great. House of Black versus Death Triangle. You know, this feud has obviously been carried on for months, but now that thankfully Phoenix is healthy and Pac is back for now, it's great to see. Although, one sec. Let me one sec. Get a drink. Alright, now I'm back. Long show. Gotta take a little bit of break. But yeah, House of Black for Set Triangle. This was great, and the finish, very full circle, very. The House of Black is now complete. Julia Hart has now officially turned to the dark side, and she is now a part of the House of Black. Great to see. And the house is complete with Black, Buddy Matthews, Brody King, and Julia Hart. So, getting to the match. First of all, House of Black had this great face paint on them. Just good stuff. Adding to the match. So, Phoenix and Black had a nice little moment in the ring. They had a standoff. So, Phoenix sat across Black in the crisscross applesauce position, and Black sat down, and that was a good little moment between the light and the dark, basically, Excalibur mentioned. So, Buddy, this is good. More Buddy Matthews on TV. Think we can agree he's very underrated, and this is good. He mocked Penta right to his face. The Zero Miedo signature of Penta. Phoenix was caught in midair by a big forearm by Brody King. Eventually, they just all started brawling in the middle of the ring. Penta went wild. He hit this when it kind of picked it up. So, Penta springboard sling blade on Black, but was met with a meteor by Buddy Matthews. Poison Rana, and then a big lariat by Pac for separation. Brody King then hit a big boss man slam in the middle. Finally, a hot tag to Phoenix. He went rough shot on the outside. Lucha Brothers hit Tope con Heroes on the outside. And then, so that triangle hit unique combination. So Lucha Brothers hit their wheelbarrow splash, followed with a standing moonsault by Pac on King for a near fall. Couldn't keep the big man down. So Phoenix went for a suicida, but was caught by Buddy Matthews. Hit a suplex on the outside. Pac hit a suicida. Black then hit a moonsault on the outside. A tope by Penta. And then Brody King hit a tope con hero on the outside. It didn't look too pretty, but the big man did it. He caught the apron, but still caught Penta, thankfully. In the middle ring, the house hit Dante's Inferno for a near fall. Pac hit a brainbuster on Black for a near fall. On the apron, Penta Destroyer on Buddy. And Brody King was spiked by a big DT on the outside. So Black was left alone in the ring. So they're beating down on Malachi. And Pac was going for the win. Went for the blackout. But then there actually was a blackout, but not the right blackout. So the lights went out. And then they came back on for a split second. Julia Hart, right in front of the Pac. Referee distracted by what was going on at ringside. Julia Hart spews the mist in Pac's eyes. Lights go back out. Pac blinded, and he walks into a Sin Eater Black Mass roundhouse kick by Black for the win. And the House wins. The House of Black wins thanks to their newest member, Julia Hart. Oh boy, this is great. We were expecting this, now it's happened. So, good scene now. Hopefully we can see now more of the house on TV. Because we know those trio styles are coming. House of Black I can see as the perfect inaugural champions for the trios division. Adam Cole for Samoa Joe. And we're just moving through. Adam Cole for Samoa Joe. The final of the Owen Hart men's tournament. Solid match. I mean, kind of wish it was a little longer, but I understand with everything that was going into it, or all the matches that were being lined up. I can see why this match cut a little short, but still an okay amount. So Cole, I mean, I think this was a little tell, which I don't think people really enjoyed that, or kind of gave it away. Adam Cole and Britt Baker, his baby, they both were wearing pink tights. So, I mean, by that nature, the Owen Hart tournament, they both kind of gave it away. But, so, this I understand with Adam Cole. So, him winning. So, quality match. So, Cole was knocked to the outside. This was their first time facing each other. Bizarre. So, Joe was going for his running big boot spot on the outside. Melon super kick by Cole. Joe's shoulder that was hit with a pipe by Jay Lethal. was shoved into the ring post, again favoring the shoulder of Samoa Joe. Back in ring, Cole went for a shoulder lock on Joe, but Joe got out. Hit a power slam for a near fall. Joe got his offense in. Hit a powerbomb for a near fall. Then turned into an SCF, but Cole got to the ropes. Bobby Fish, he was out there. He interfered, not once but twice. Cole then hit a couple of super kicks before finally lowering the boom to the back head for the win. Adam Cole gets the victory over Samoa Joe. And he wins the inaugural men's tournament. Now, I understand why Cole won. Because, Cole has not had really the proverbial big win on, or had a big win on AEW in quite a while. So, this was a much needed big win. Samoa Joe, still going to be there. Samoa Joe, odds are he's going to feud with Jay Lethal. He's still the Ring of Honor TV champion. He's still going to be there at the top, but right outcome for Cole. And then right after is Bay Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, back to back. So the Owen Hart women's final. I think match is okay, but I think this and the mixed trios match felt underwhelming. It just felt underwhelming. And in bad spots. And, understandably so. So Britt hit a curb stomp for a near fall. Ruby hit the no feature for a 2 count. Finally, I guess, paying homage to Owen in the way he beat his brother Britt at WrestleMania 10. So Ruby went for a victory roll off an electric chair position by Britt Baker. But Britt countered, rolled up Ruby, and Britt got the win. And she wins the inaugural women's Owen Hart tournament. I understand that, okay, they're together, okay, it's a cool thing, Adam Cole, Britt Baker, both winning their perspective tournaments. But Adam Cole need this win, I would say. Britt, we all love Britt. Britt is the star of the women's division. I get it, the first, you want the biggest name possible for the first. So again, that sense, but I mean, Ruby and Chris Statlander, I think definitely deserved the accolade more than Britt. That's my opinion. But yeah, I can tell why this was a bit of a down moment for the show. Then after Dr. Martha Hart, she came out. Gonna see her. She presented the Owen Hart titles to both Britt Baker and Adam Cole and award the trophy to both. And great moment and good for both Adam Cole and his baby. One, I mean, again, one understand, one not so much. Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti, and Frankie Kazarian for many years, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and the debuting, making their AEW in-ring debut, Paige Van Zandt. Now, what in the heck were Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti? You know, they're supposed to be baby faces, aren't they? Their attire or what they wore for the entrance was anything but baby face. You know, anything but. So, Paige Van Zandt in her debut, she could have done worse. She did alright. But we know her shining spots are on the mic. We know that. The highlight of this match was Sammy Guevara kicking his girlfriend. That was the highlight of the match for a lot of people. So, but yeah, after an argument between Ty and Frankie, Sammy kicked Ty in the face. Scorpio Sky hit the TKO on Frankie for the win. And like that, Paige is 1-0 in AEW. And according to the stipulation, Frank Kazarian and Sammy Guevara can no longer challenge for the TNT title against Scorpio Sky as long as Scorpio is champion. Oh boy, things are falling. Now again to part 2. Now, I mean, the Britt Baker match, the Trios match, and Kyle O'Reilly versus Bob Darby on, these were kind of the dead spots of the night. I mean, it was a long pay-per-view, so understandably there's going to be some matches getting the not the fair share of the crowd. But Next match between Darby and O'Reilly. Good match, but again, was another one of the matches that did not deserve to be on the show. Just definitely did not. And you felt bad for both because Darby's great. O'Reilly is very good in his own right. But yeah, this match did not need to be on the show. But I can see why they put it in front of Thunder Rosa and Deeb to give the crowd a bit of a breather. So they had emotion. They were okay for the Thunder Rosa Serena Deeb match, but still, I can understand. Or I at least get it. So O'Reilly versus Darby, this was thrown together on Rampage because O'Reilly took out Sting. So, but this is kind of ugly. So, Darby, we know, has the best suicida in the business. Tope suicida. But Darby crashed on the outside. Not sure if he slipped or just because he did not execute the suicida and he just fell. He just fell on the outside. Looked ugly, but continued the match. I don't think he was quite 100% after that. So, on the outside, O'Reilly locked in the guillotine, and Darby was out. They rolled back in the ring. Darby locked on the Last Supper for a near fall. Kyle O'Reilly then choked Darby with his chain, landed some running knees, and then hit a top rope knee to the back of Darby for the win. O'Reilly gets surprise victory over Darby Allin. Again, good match, but did not need to be on the show. Almost an hour in, and we still got 3 solid matches to go, or 4. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. AEW Women's Championship match. This was a very technical, very wrestling-driven match. This was kind of a relief, I would say, because pretty much all the matches were kind of all over the place. So, this match, we know how good both women are, so this is good. So, arguably the match tonight with House of Black versus that Triangle. So, Deeb hit a modified neckbreaker for a near fall. It's just back and forth, back and forth. These women know each other so well. Rosa dead valley driver for a near fall. Deeb locked in a figure 4. They slapped each other in the face for a while. And they rolled, accidentally spilled to the outside. Back in the ring, Deeb hit the Deeb talks for a near fall. Rosa then, they were on the top rope. Rosa is superplex, followed with the Fire Thunder Driver by Rosa for the win. Thunder Rosa gets solid victory over Serena Deeb in the defense here. I mean, the build could have been better, the build, but hopefully now that the tournament is over and, Athena now being in, perhaps get better storyline progressions for Thunder Rosa from here. This was a chaotic scene and definitely not for the weak of heart. Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz versus Jericho Appreciation Society. Anarchy in the arena was definitely that. Hard to keep up with this match, but tried my best. So, they were brawling throughout the arena. Moxley music was playing, and that was something. That was hilarious. Yeah. So, two guys were fighting up the steps, two guys were fighting in the crowd, just all around the place. So, Santana Ortiz, they sent Jake Hager at ringside through a table with a Suicida powerbomb combination. So there was that. Kingston and Matt Menard, they were brawling in the concessions area. I mean, Matt Menard had mustard all over his back. I mean, geez. Kingston, there was one shot, I'll tell you in a bit, but there is this one shot of Kingston, like, geez. So, around ringside, Garcia hit Ortiz with a pile driver onto steps that took him out for the time being. Moxley, he was busted open. He used a cooler, literally throwing it around at the JS, dealing with Jericho. Garcia was dragging Kingston by the neck with a belt to the ring from the concessions area. Yikes. So back around ringside, this is when everything kind of boiled back around ringside. Moxley Suicida was unscrewing the turnbuckle, one of them. There was a barbed wire bat, I think he got. And he was whelming it on everybody. There was a barbed wire bed set up at ringside. Santana Ortiz, they set up a huge ladder in the crowd. And I couldn't really see, but 2.0, I'm guessing, were on both set of tables. And Serial dies by both through the tables off this huge ladder. That took all those parties out. So, Bryan and Moxley both had the label lock and the Bulldog choke set up on both Hager and Jericho in the middle of the ring. Oh yeah, what a sight. But wait. Eddie Kingston comes strolling down the aisleway, the rampway, looking like a freaking zombie with his blood all over his face and his shirt, with a thing of gasoline. A thing of gasoline. Now, we know a couple weeks ago, Jericho threw a fireball in Kingston's face, kind of burned one side of his face for a couple weeks. So, Kingston came trolling down, and Kingston dumped this gasoline on Jericho. So, Bryan and Kingston started going at it in the corner of the ring. They had to be separated because Bryan probably kind of figured that Kingston was going too far. So they had to be separated. Bryan then was running roughshod. You could literally hear Bryan cuss, saying, "I'm going to kick his effing head in." So Moxley was shoved onto a barbed wire bed on the outside. That took him out. Bryan, it was basically a 2-on-1 situation from here. Bryan versus Hager and Jericho. Bryan hit a running knee with the chair on Jericho's face for a good near fall. Finally, so Hager used the bat to Bryan's knee, the knee that was caught wedged in between the apron and the rampway a couple weeks ago. So Jericho walked in the walls on Bryan, and Hager used a cable to choke out Bryan while he's in the walls of Jericho. Bryan passed out, and the JS get the victory. Jericho Appreciation Society gets the victory in this grueling, chaotic scene, mess, whatever you want to call it. Anarchy in the arena. They got it done. Jeez. That was something. We're almost done. So, then we got the tag team title match. I was like, geez. We still have another match for the main event, but yeah. Going through your head, it's like, man, this match didn't happen yet. Keith Lee and Swerve versus Jurassic Express versus Team Taz. Triple threat tag team match for tag team titles. I think many were surprised as well about the finish and the outcome of this match. So, Sark's hilarious. He went for an old school like Undertaker move, and he was like posing or something on the top rope. And then finally, thanks to Jungle Boy, he was shrouded on the top rope. Funny stuff there. Swerve off of Keith Lee. Done this a couple times. Hit a moonsault to the outside. Hobbs hit a fallaway slam off the top rope. Finally, the big men, they collided in the middle of the ring. Hobbs and Keith Lee hit a double choke slam onto Luchasaurus. And then the big guys were going at it. Keith Lee hit a tope. Hit a tope con hero. Over the top rope. Jeez, a guy like him doing that. Jeez. Luchasaurus hit inverted Death Valley Driver for a near fall. Christian starts trying to cheat, but Christian caught him. Then was sent to the steps by Hobbs. I thought they were going to win this here. Starts a big spear. Rochambeau for a near fall. Keith Lee and Swerve hit their powerbomb stomp combo for a near fall as well. Finally, Jurassic Express by Jurassic Express onto Swerve. 1, 2, 3. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, they retain. I think many thought, including me, that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are going to lose the titles here, and Christian Cage may cost them. And that was not the case. Now we get to the main events. Finally, the main event. CM Punk vs Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship. This match was good. I mean, we know both. Hangman, one of the best pro wrestlers currently in all pro wrestling. CM Punk, not who he once was, but he can still bring it. This match I like though, and Hangman, could we be seeing heel Hangman soon? Just a thought here. So Hangman, he was showing a mean streak during this match, being very stiff with CM Punk. I had some stiff shots. Punk hit a crossbody roll through by a hallway slam by Hangman. He had a punch on the outside. Hangman went for his top rope moonsault, but Punk countered. But then was sent up the top rope. Sliding lariat by Hangman for a near fall. Punk hit a superplex nonchalantly, but not the best, but still got it. Page then managed to hit his moonsault to the outside. Page went for the buckshot, but got into a sharpshooter by Punk. Got to the ropes. Punk went for the buckshot of his own, slipped a little, but hit it anyway. Punk then, they were going back and forth, and then Page hit the dead eye for a near fall. He actually hit the GTS by himself for a 2. And then Punk went for GTS, but Ref was knocked down. Page then had a conflict and crisis of his own. He looked at the belt as the belt was taken to the middle of the ring, or the corner of the ring. He eyed the belt. Page or Punk was down or getting up. Ref was down. CM Punk was egging him on, telling him to use it. Page threw it away, went for the buckshot, but Punk walked in to go to sleep. 1, 2, 3, and we have a new AEW World Champion, and his name is CM Punk. Hangman had a very respectable reign. Very respectable reign. Being Kenny, being Bryan, being Archer, being Cole twice. I mean, can't say it was all for naught. It was a very good reign for Hangman Page. And he's still going to be there. The question is, where does he go from here? Now with MJF, the situation, where does that leave Punk? We'll see, but was a very good, although long pay-per-view. But yeah, look at the time. Over an hour and 15 minutes. So there's that. But nonetheless, as your AEW Double or Nothing 2022 review, was good for them to be back in Vegas. You know, obviously, I've been there the last 2 years due to COVID, but it was great for them to be back, and just a great feel in Vegas. You know, next month, quick turnaround. Next month, June 26th, is Forbidden Door, and of course Wednesday Dynamite. A match already scheduled is the Undisputed Elite versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage versus, I believe, the Hardys, I think. But nonetheless, good showing for AEW last night and good stuff. But nonetheless, thanks for joining me. Be back Thursday with your AEW Dynamite review. And of course, Saturday for Rampage. But thank you all. Be safe. I'm Joe Love. Getting out of here. Peace.